Hi, I'm Mimi from HarperStacks, and today I'm going to tell you some of my top picks for summer reading for kids. So during the summer, you may be worried about your students' regression in academic proficiency due to the holiday. This is a theory known as summer slide, and while it's debated among educators, it's always a great idea to have a list of great books for kids of all ages to read to keep engaging in those reading skills that they've acquired during the school year. So for picture books, one of my top picks is The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. It is a classic. I'm sure you remember it from childhood. I remember it from childhood. And there are so many lessons on social emotional learning and being compassionate and being generous and being grateful. This is a top pick for teachers everywhere, so it's definitely something that your students and patrons want to read over the summer. Also from Shel Silverstein, Falling Up. So Shel Silverstein is known for his poetry works, and this is just one of my favorites, and it is a great introduction to poetry for really young readers. It's funny, it's engaging, and it is something that they will remember for a long time. So next up for emerging readers, I'm so excited about this new line, HarperChapters. So HarperChapters is great for first, second, third graders who are just getting into reading on their own, reading independently, and are excited about chapter books. So HarperChapters, this one is Trouble at Table 5. There will be 2 that have launched or in the first launch of this series. We also have Sparkleton, which is about unicorns, and 13th Street, which is a little bit spooky. This one's a little more mystery themed. What I want to tell you about this line as HarperChapters as a whole is the progress bars you get at the end of every chapter. So this one says, I've read 2 chapters, so it's very encouraging. And at the end of every book, it will tell you, congratulations, you've read 12 chapters, 85 pages, and 5,777 words. So it's really encouraging throughout the book and definitely at the end. All of them have that message, and it's just great for kids who are suddenly reading on their own, and there's so many of them that they can just binge right through them all summer. Next, I want to move into graphic novels. So graphic novels are a fantastic format for developing visual literacy. We are such a media-rich world that kids really need to be able to read pictures as well as prose. So we're so excited to have Harper Alley, which is our new graphic novel imprint, and several of these books are in that imprint. So I want to start off with Action Presidents. So if you've got history buffs in your life, this is a great line. We've got President George Washington, we have President Teddy Roosevelt, President Abe Lincoln, and JFK. So these are, all the history in these is real, the jokes not so much, but it's very engaging, full color illustrations throughout, and these are great for kids who love history. Next up, I'm so excited about New Kid. So New Kid by Jerry Craft was the first graphic novel to win the Newbery Medal this year. So we're very excited about that. Jordan is a 7th grader in Washington Heights, a neighborhood in Upper Manhattan, and he is about to move to a new school. So being a new kid is really tough sometimes, especially in middle school, but it's also tough when you're one of the few students of color at a brand new school. So he's navigating his identity and little microaggressions from teachers and students. And it's a fantastic, very real, very timely book. We're so excited about it. Also be on the lookout for Class Act coming this fall, which is the follow-up to New Kid. Next, I've got the full series of Emmie and Friends from Terri Libenson. So these are highly illustrated novels. So while they're not full graphic novels, they're not written in panels, there is both a mix of prose and illustrations. So again, it's a great mix of developing those literacy skills. And these are great stories about being in middle school, and they're all female characters, and they're just dealing with things that all students do in that age bracket. These are really, really fun, and I definitely, since there's 4 of them, again, you can just binge read these. So speaking of binge reading, which if you can't tell is one of my favorite things to do, I've got some great series that students can start from book 1 and work all the way through, which should last the whole summer. So first up, I want to tell you about The School for Good and Evil. So if you love magical schools as much as I do, this is a great next series to pick up. So in The School for Good and Evil, ordinary kids go to this school to train to become fairy tale heroes and villains. There are 6 books in the series. The final and 6th book came out this summer, and they do come in paperback as well. So this is definitely a great series to work your way through. So speaking of schools, who doesn't love Wayside School? So this is the first one in decades. They've been around since I believe the 70s, and we got a new one this March, which is really exciting. So Wayside School Beneath the Cloud of Doom. It's as funny and zany and quirky as you remember. This is the 4th book in the series, so it's another one for students to fall in love with from the beginning and work their way through this one. And, you know, there's so many memories from teachers and librarians and parents, so this is a great book to bond over. Speaking of classics, who doesn't love Narnia? So The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is a classic. It's been turned into a movie, and it is just beloved through the generations. So a little fun fact, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, while it is the most probably well-known book in the Narnia series, it was written first. It is not technically the first in the series. The first is The Magician's Nephew. So if you want to start from the beginning, you can start with The Magician's Nephew and work your way through to the 7th and final book. But this is another great introduction to the series as a whole. And then you can go back and read The Magician's Nephew if you really want. Other great series that I loved from childhood, a series of unfortunate events. So the first one is The Bad Beginning. And the poor Baudelaire children are suddenly orphaned mysteriously, and their uncle, cousin, we don't know what he is, Count Olaf is a distant relative, and he shows up out of nowhere and suddenly decides he's going to take care of these kids, but really he just wants the fortune that their parents left them. It is dark and it's funny, and it's a great introduction to satire for kids. So there are 13 books in this series, I believe, and your kids can work through them all summer. And if they have kind of a dark humor afterwards, I'm really sorry. So next I want to tell you about some really great middle grade standalones. Next, I've got We Dream of Space by Newbery medalist Erin Entrada Kelly. This is her latest book, and we are so excited about it. So it's 1986, so this does qualify as historical fiction, and the nation is awaiting the launch of NASA's Challenger. Cut to the Nelson Thomas family, which has 3 kids, Cash, Fitch, and Bird, and they are all going through a lot right now. They're in middle school, so that's already a lot, and then their parents are constantly fighting at home, and it's just, they're all kind of in their own little orbits, even though they're all under the same roof. So dealing with family dynamics, dealing with girls in STEM, and dealing with just school and life and figuring out who you are. This is classic Erin in the sense that it's just well-written middle graders and real middle graders. It is heart-wrenching, it is beautiful, it is Erin Entrada Kelly. So definitely make sure that this is on your list. Next, from Newbery medalist Katherine Applegate, we have the follow-up to her Newbery medal winning The One and Only Ivan with the highly anticipated The One and Only Bob. So if you remember from The One and Only Ivan, Gorilla Ivan's best friend is Bob, the little scrappy mutt who we all love. So this is Bob's story, and it is about finding the meaning of family and stepping up and being brave, even if it comes in a very small package. It is classic Katherine, it is well written, it is amazing, and everyone should be excited about this. If you're a dog lover, if you're a gorilla lover, if you're an animal lover, if you're a book lover, this is a great one to have. And so moving away from middle grade, these are 2 teen recs that are great for junior high, upper middle school, and teen readers as well. Clap When You Land is the newest from Elizabeth Acevedo. Clap When You Land is written in verse, as The Poet X was. And Clap When You Land tells the story of 2 girls, one who lives in New York City, one who lives in the Dominican Republic. They have no idea that they are sisters. Their father tragically dies in a plane crash as he is flying from New York to the Dominican Republic to visit his homeland. And they find out about each other, they find the meaning of family and grief, and it is stunning and beautiful and perfectly Elizabeth Acevedo. So this is definitely one everyone should check out. Finally, I want to talk to you about a book that is slowly but surely becoming a classic and is a must-read for everyone. The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. In this, we meet 16-year-old Star Carter, who lives in a poor, predominantly African-American neighborhood on one side of town, but goes to a wealthy, predominantly white private school on the other side of town. One day, Star is riding home with her friend Khalil from a party. He gets pulled over by the cops and tragically ends up being shot by the officer, even though Khalil had no weapon on him. This book explores police brutality, racism in America, and Black experience, and it is heart-wrenching and inspiring and encourages people to use their voices to fight for justice. Now more than ever, everyone should read The Hate You Give, and I hope it inspires you as much as it has inspired me and countless others. Well, that's it for me. Those are my top summer reading picks, and I wish you nothing but endless sunny days to get lost in a good book.